We'll have a seat as usual, just to kind of get tuned into our bodies. So as you find your comfortable seat, just take a moment and really bring your awareness to your pelvis. Right now, and even when we stand, that's our center of gravity. So I want you to feel the base of your pelvis either on your mat, or if you're sitting on a bolster or a blanket, or straight on the floor, whatever it is, I want you to feel the base of your pelvis. I really kind of push your sit bones down to lift up through the crown of the head. Have a nice straight spine, and relax your shoulders, relax your arms, relax your jaw, close your eyes, take a deep breath in. And just a big sigh. Just kind of signaling to your body and your mind that it's time to settle in and tune in. And so you just start to notice, where do things feel maybe a little tight or stiff? Where do things feel pretty good already? Just kind of notice the whole picture, the big picture. And then let's start breathing a little deeper and slower. So Ujjayi breathing if you can. And now just take the opportunity to check in with thoughts, emotions, your level of energy this morning, your level of connection. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. And just take this opportunity to set an intention for your practice, maybe even for the rest of the day. When you're clear about your intention, take another extra deep inhale through the nose. We'll side out the mouth. And from here on out, nose breathing, preferably Ujjayi nose breathing, the entire time. So go ahead and put your hands on your knees if your legs are crossed. If your legs are extended in front of you, tuck your hands under your thighs. 3 torso circles in each direction. I want you to pay particular attention to your hips and your low back. So that's your hint. That's what we're doing this morning. Hips and low back. And as always, it can be, perhaps, depending upon your body, this morning it can be a little intense, but always feels really good when we're done. So just remember to be discerning about what your body is feeling. Push yourself enough, but not too much. Know when to back up. And just keep doing a nice slow Ujjayi breath, and that'll get you through the practice. So as you finish out your torso circles, we're going to go straight into downward facing dog. Make sure your palms are spread even from this first down dog. We want to have decent form, right? Flat palms, spread fingers, a little bit of space between the shoulder blades and between the shoulders and the neck. And then, of course, you can pedal the feet a little bit, since I've got you starting here. And then take a moment to find some stillness. Then I want you to bend your knees a little bit. And we're going to kind of roll our hips, almost like in a circular motion or an oval. So the legs are straightening, the hips are pressing back, the knees are bending, the hips are pressing forward. Do that a couple more times. And then press your hips back again, hold it, and then you're gonna walk your feet forward, just coming into your ragdoll, relaxing the neck, just draping over slightly bent legs, keeping that nice deep breath going so your spine can have its first opportunity to lengthen. On your next inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up and overhead. Stretch. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Pause here with your hands in front of your heart, Tadasana. And I want you to really kind of, again, come into the awareness of your center of gravity. So your pelvis is up here, your feet are touching the ground, but your pelvis is where your center of gravity is. So I want you to kind of balance your hips over your feet. They shouldn't be too far forward. They shouldn't be sticking too far back. You want to find that kind of central balance point, and then lift the heart up and let the head balance on top of your spine. Just take a moment and feel that sense of connection. And then let's inhale, reach the arms up and stretch. Exhale, fold all the way forward, fingertips down. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. We're going to step back with our right foot. So we have a left foot forward lunge. Hold your lunge for a moment. And then go ahead and drop your right knee down and put your left hand on the inside of your left knee. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot as you gently press on your left leg. How much you press is completely up to you. Think of this as just exploring, at this point, how your left hip feels. And then go ahead and extend your left leg and explore how your hamstring is this morning. Flex your ankle and toes once you get that leg straight. Pull your chest forward. Remember to not be tense around the shoulders. Let everything around your shoulders relax. Bend your left knee. Bring your arms up and overhead. Let's go ahead and tuck that tailbone under. Sink your hips forward, finding a stretch on the front of the right thigh, right hip. On your next exhale, if it feels okay, go ahead and open out to the left. Arms are kind of like a T. Keep allowing that right hip to move forward. And then bring both hands down inside your left foot. Come onto the forearms if you can, or at least the right one. And of course, you can use a block here if you need to. And I'd like you to make sure that your left foot does not move to the left, doesn't rotate to the left, and your knee is not splayed open. I would love for you to actually hug your left inner thigh in towards your torso. So today, since we're working on like glutes, hips, low back, we want this to be a glute stretch from your left knee through that hamstring and glute and into the low back. Should pretty much be a straight line. You don't want that leg splaying out to the side. All right, come on up onto your hands, step it back to plank. I am not gonna mess with your vinyasas this morning. You can do whatever you like, as long as you're following your breath and being mindful. I'll meet you in down dog. Get there however you like this morning. When you do get to your downward facing dog, really press those hips back. Let's start using this to lengthen and traction the spine. So if you're not gripping between the shoulder blades, which is great, and you're not gripping in the low back, you can push your hips way back and you can start to press the heels down, and they may not hit, and that's okay, it doesn't matter. We want that length. So if you find yourself walking your feet forward, please don't. Then you don't have anywhere to go. You want to have somewhere that you can make progress. Let's go ahead and take the right foot forward. And just hold the lunge for a moment. And then drop your left knee. Right hand goes to the inside of the right knee, literally on it. You're going to roll to the outside edge of your right foot and gently press that leg. And so again, we're just kind of exploring how that right hip is feeling this morning. And then we're going to extend the right leg and say good morning to the right hamstring. Flex your ankle and toes. Pull the chest forward. Go ahead and bend your right knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Pelvis tilts back as the hips move forward so that we can begin to access the front of the left hip. And then if it feels okay, on your next exhale, you're going to rotate open to the right. Your arms are kind of open like a T, and your left hip continues to move forward. Let's bring both hands down inside the right foot. Remember, don't splay that right leg out. Resist the urge. Come on to your left forearm, perhaps both, and try and actually hug your right inner thigh in towards your torso. Again, we want that straight line stretching out the back body. If you splay that leg out, you're no longer getting that full-on glute and low back and hamstring stretch. Couple more breaths here. Good. Hands to the mat. Step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up, stretch. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, back down. This time we're going to step back with our left foot. Nice big step back. Hold your lunge for a moment. Anything that you need to modify, you can do like we did our first series through. So just know all these are just going to be more intense versions of what we just did. If you're able, plant your left hand, rotate both feet a full 90 degrees to the right. Right hand can reach for the ceiling, or it can be in front of your right shin. You should be feeling this in your right hip. And then we're going to rotate both feet back. So we're back in our lunge. Gaze forward. Begin to straighten your right leg to say hello to your hamstring a little more vigorously. So it should just be a deeper stretch. And it's okay if your right leg isn't straight. If you're feeling your right hamstring, you're perfect. That's all you got to do. If you can, go ahead and just bend your right knee. Bring those arms up and overhead. Pelvis tilts back slightly. Hips drop a little bit if you can. Find a deeper stretch on the front of your left hip. If you're able, on an exhale, rotate open to the right. And then we'll take both hands down inside the right foot and come onto the left forearm. Perhaps both, and really hug the right knee in towards your torso. From here, step it back to plank. Take the vinyasa of your choice, following your breath. Lengthen your spine in your down dog. Be really mindful of pressing your pelvis back. Step forward with your left foot. You're in your lunge for a moment. And then just like we did on the other side, if you are able, both feet rotate a full 90 degrees to the left. Hips are kind of sinking. Left hand can reach for the ceiling or in front of your left shin. And you should be feeling this in your left hip. And then we rotate all the way back, gaze forward, and begin to straighten that left leg. So you should be feeling it in your left hamstring. And remember, if the leg isn't all the way straight, it's okay. Then we go ahead and bend the left knee, bring the arms up, tilt the pelvis back, let the hips drop a little if you can. Maybe on your next exhale, rotate open to the left. Arms are out like a T. And then we bring both hands down inside that left foot and see if you can come on to at least the right forearm. Maybe both. Left inner thigh is hugging in towards the torso. And we come back up onto the hands and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up and stretch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. We're gonna step back with the right foot. Spin the heel flat. Come up into your warrior two with your left foot forward. Take a moment and find your proper alignment. Left shin should be vertical. Left knee is kind of tracking over that second toe. Torso is vertical if you can. Arms are reaching out to the side. You have a soft drishti or gaze over your left middle finger. Now, I want you to just imagine that your thighs are rolling outward. External rotation of the thighs. Really feel your outer hip muscles turning on here. Put your left hand on the inside of your left thigh. Slide your right hand down towards your right ankle. It's okay if it doesn't go all the way. But then press your left arm totally straight. In other words, fully extend your left arm, make your torso drift to the right. You should feel this on the left side of your spine, left hip. Come back up, warrior two. Left knee stays bent and you continue to roll the thighs outward. It will get a little intense, but it will be better, I promise. Right hand on right thigh, left arm up and over, reverse your warrior. Come all the way back up, straighten your left leg. This is your break. Take your right hip to the right, lengthen the rib cage out, and come into triangle pose on your left. Really focus on spinal length here. And then we're coming back up, warrior two. Find that alignment, roll those hips outward. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Fold all the way down if you can, right down the midline, relax your neck. Maybe reach the arms up and over a little bit. Now, you're gonna go ahead and rotate towards your left foot. Release both hands down inside your left foot. Your right heel is still flat, by the way. Your left hand is gonna reach under your left leg. Before you do anything else, pull your left hip back and your right hip forward. You should already start to feel your left hip. If you can, right hand grabs the left ankle and you start to pull, like you're trying to pull your left shoulder under your left leg. Take a couple breaths. Release the hands out to either side of your left foot. Swivel onto your right toes. Step it back to plank and flow through a vinyasa. Really press your hips up and back. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Your left hip should feel a little looser than the right. So let's try and make a match. Take your right foot forward. Spin that left heel flat. Up you go. Warrior two. Right leg forward. So find your alignment again. Your right shin should be vertical. Knee is tracking over the second toe. Torso is vertical. You're gazing over your right middle finger. You're imagining your thighs rolling outward. And then we put the right hand on the inside of the right thigh. Excuse me, your left hand slides down towards the left ankle and you press your right arm totally straight. Come all the way back up into your warrior two. Try and keep that knee bent. We're working it. And then we transition into our reverse warrior. Left hand, left thigh, right arm up and over. Come back up. Straighten your right leg. Kick that left hip out. Lengthen the right side of your spine to find your triangle. Be really mindful of your alignment here. Enjoy your break with your right leg straight. And then we're going back into our warrior two. Bend your right knee. Roll those thighs outward. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Try and fold right down the midline. While you're hanging forward, you're going to rotate back towards your right foot. Release both hands down inside that right foot. Your right arm is going to reach under your right leg and you plant the hand. Before you do anything else, pull your right hip back, left hip forward. And maybe that's enough. If you're already feeling your right hip and you're happy here, stay here. If you can, your left hand will grab your right ankle and you're going to try and pull that right shoulder under your right thigh. Continuing to pull right hip back, left hip forward. Unwind yourself. One hand on either side of the right foot. Swivel onto your left toes. Step back to plank. Flow through your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, you can either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, stretch. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. All right, we're gonna balance a little bit in a standing figure four variation. So we're standing on the left foot first today. Your right ankle is going to cross over the left thigh just above the knee, and you're going to flex your right ankle. So your leg should look like a figure four. The arms are up and overhead. You want to start poking your tailbone back, keeping the chest lifted, bending your left knee while you extend your torso out over your right shin. You should feel that in your right glute. Come back up and put your right foot on the ground. Relax your arms, roll your shoulders back. Standing on your right foot. Left ankle crosses right thigh just above the knee. Flex your ankle. Press the left knee out, figure four. Arms are overhead. Tailbone is poking back. Right knee is bending. And you're keeping your chest lifted, so you want to lengthen out over your left shin. Come back up, release, left foot to the ground, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And back down. You can either walk or jump back to plank. Flow through your vinyasa. And then from this downward facing dog, take your right leg behind you, bend your knee, roll your hip bone open. And then swing your right leg underneath you with your knee bent, coming into pigeon with the forearms down. The right knee slightly outside the right side of your torso. Left leg sliding back. We're going to be here for a few breaths. So kind of settle in and just find just the right amount of stretch. And then really pay attention to your right hip, right glute. Couple more breaths here, just really allowing that right glute to release. And then just step it straight back, downward facing dog, stretch for a moment. Shift into plank, take a full vinyasa. And then take your left leg up towards the ceiling, bend the knee, roll the hip open. And swing your left leg underneath you for pigeon. Just make sure that your left knee is slightly outside the left side of your torso. Scoot the right leg back until you feel the correct amount of stretch. Come onto your forearms if possible. You're welcome to flatten all the way out. And remember to just breathe and focus. We're here for a bit. Couple more breaths. From here, go straight back, downward facing dog, stretch. And then shift into plank and take a vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, you can either walk or jump forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. We are moving into a yogic squat now. Take your feet about the width of the mat. And I'm just gonna kind of give you like my 2 cents worth here. For those of you who do have the hip mobility to do it, a little closer in today, just today, would be better. So if you can keep your heels flat and have your feet closer than the outside edges of the mat, that'd be great. Super important that the toes point forward today. So don't go extra wide and splay the feet out because that will make your buns grip. We're trying to make them let go. So do the best you can. Toes forward, heels flat, start to drop your buns. Remember, you can hold yourself up on your thighs if you need to. This is actually preferable to doing it incorrectly. So do the best you can. We're working on getting the glutes to stretch and open and the low back. So once you get your buns as far down as you comfortably can, I want you to lift your chest. Now, if you've managed to get your feet maybe hip distance or even a little closer, and you've allowed your pelvis to be heavy and hang, and you've lifted your chest, if you've managed to do that, then I want you to just take a moment and feel into your backside and your low back and feel how that's stretching and lengthening right here. If you've gone wide or you've turned your feet out or you're not releasing the pelvis, then you're actually getting the opposite effect. You're gripping there. Take one more breath. And then wherever you're at, just find your way with your bum on the ground and your legs extended, connecting to your sit bones, activating the legs, and pausing for a moment in Dandasana. It's always nice to just pause, check in with your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy, your connection, your intention. Just do a quick tune in. And then we're gonna keep the right leg straight and bring the left foot on top of the right thigh, just above the knee, and flex the ankle. You're gonna notice it's that same figure 4, right? Keep your left ankle flexed. Go ahead and lean out over your right leg. Take a couple breaths here. Now, if your left hip is tight, you're gonna feel this in your left hip in addition to your right hamstring. If your left hip is pretty pliable, you're probably not feeling it here. Go ahead and come on up from that. Hands are behind you on the mat. Push into the floor for a straight spine and bend your right knee to get your right foot flat. So the idea here is to have a very, very straight spine, left ankle flexed, looks a lot like a seated pigeon. You can keep your hands behind you. If you prefer, you can grab the right shin, but make sure you keep lifting your chest. You want a really straight spine. You want to make sure that left ankle stays very flexed. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to go ahead and transition this into a twist. So hands are back down. You let your right leg drop over till the whole left foot touches the ground. It's fine if your left bun pops up. Left hand is behind you, and you are twisting to your left as much as possible. And then here's what I'd like you to do. Flex your right ankle, that's your bottom foot, and slide it out. And then just let that left ankle come on top of your right knee, just like that. You are in stacked logs. I would love for you to, if you're super tight, hands are behind you for a straight spine. Those of you that can get your shins stacked. See if you can get your forearms to the floor in front of your shins and relax your neck for a few breaths. Keep both ankles flexed. Come on up, unwind your legs, extend them out, give them a good wiggle. And then we're gonna keep the left leg straight, bring your right foot on top of your left thigh, just above the knee. Flex your right ankle, please, and lean out. So now we're stretching out the right side. Take a couple breaths. Same thing applies here as the other side. If your right hip is tight, you're gonna feel it. If you're not feeling your right hip and you're just feeling the left hamstring, that's because your right hip is kind of pliable, which is a good thing, right? All right, coming up from this, hands are right behind you, straight spine, left knee bends, scooch up if you need to. You want your spine nice and straight, so keep the hands behind you if you need to. Keep your right ankle flexed. If you prefer, grab your left shin, but make sure that you're pulling the chest forward. Keep your right ankle flexed, take a couple breaths. And then from here, hands are back on the ground if they're not already. Let your left leg drop over to the left till the whole sole of the right foot touches, and we transition into our twist. You're twisting to the right. From here, your left leg, your bottom leg, you're gonna flex the ankle and just pull it out a little bit. Let your right foot slide on top of the left. Both ankles are flexed. If you need to, hands behind you. If you can, fold forward, forearms to the mat. Relax the neck. And coming out of that, extend your legs and wiggle. Awesome. From here, find your sit bones again. Just take a moment and lengthen out over both legs. And what I'd like you to do is really put your awareness in your glutes and in your low back. Ask your glutes to release first. So really try and tilt your pelvis forward. Then allow the back to release. From here, we're gonna come on up. We're gonna roll onto our back. Hug the knees in, rock side to side. And I'd like you to take your left thigh very tightly over your right thigh. Left thigh is on top. Grab your feet or ankles if you can. If not, just hug your knees into your chest. Make sure your ankles are flexed regardless. So you should be feeling this in your left glute, your left buttock. Hang out here for a few breaths. Now, if you've got your feet or ankles in your hands, let go of them. You can tuck that left foot behind your right calf if you want. Your calves are going to be parallel to the ground. Your left thigh is still very tightly crossed on top of the right. You're going to interlace your fingers behind your neck and point your elbows at the ceiling because, as you know, deep transversus abdominal work releases the low back. So take a deep breath in. Hold your breath. flatten the back, and then exhale, crunch towards your very tightly crossed thighs, pressing your navel into the floor and completely emptying your lungs. Inhale down, hold the breath, flatten the back, exhale and crunch, squeeze those thighs together, press your navel down into your lungs. Inhale, put your head back down, keep your legs like they are, head stays down, one hand on top of the other, dead center in the middle of your left thigh. Deep breath in. Hold your breath, flatten your back, exhale, press, press, press against that left thigh. Inhale, release. Hold the breath, flatten the back. As you exhale, push against your left thigh, but don't let it move. Squeeze the thighs, press your low back into the floor, into your lungs. One more, inhale. Hold the breath, flatten the back. Exhale, press, press, press against that thigh. Good. Now, just make one big circle in each direction with your knees. And then if you're able to do a deep twist, just put your right foot back down on the ground. Left thigh is still tightly crossed over right unless you need to modify. And your knees are going to drop to the right with your left arm opening out to the left. Head turning to the left, and you begin to relax. You're going to let that left hip start to soften. Let the low back start to lengthen even more. Just breathe. On your next inhale, bring your legs back up, uncross them, and hug your knees. Rock side to side. All right, now it's time to take the right thigh very tightly over the left. Make sure your right thigh is on top. You're either hugging the knees in or you're grabbing your feet or ankles. Either way, ankles are flexed and you are looking for a really nice right glute stretch. If you've got your feet or ankles, let go. If you want to, you can tuck your right foot behind your left calf, doesn't matter. We're going to keep the thighs crossed. Calves are parallel to the ground. Interlace your fingers behind your neck. Point your elbows at the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath. Flatten your back. Exhale. Crunch towards the thighs. Pressing the low back down. Squeezing your inner thighs, emptying your lungs. Inhale back down. Hold the breath. Flatten the back. Exhale. Crunch. Inhale back down, keep your head on the ground, and then bring your hands, one hand on top of the other, dead center in the middle of your right thigh. Big inhale. Hold the breath, flatten the back. Now exhale, push against your right thigh, but don't let it move. Keep your back flat into your lungs. Squeeze your thighs. Inhale, release. Hold the breath, flatten the back. Exhale, press against your thigh. One more, inhale, release. Hold your breath, flatten your back. Exhale, press against your right thigh. Squeeze your thighs. Empty your lungs and release. Thighs are going to stay crossed. Draw one big circle in the air in each direction with your knees. If you can, you'll keep your thighs tightly crossed and put your left foot back down on the floor. Remember, if you need to modify your twist, please do. Otherwise, just let both knees drop to the left, let your head turn to the right, and finally you get to relax that right hip a little bit. On your next inhale, bring your legs back up, uncross them, hug your knees in, rock side to side. And then from here, press your knees wide. I'd like you to reach from the inside and get the arches of your feet. Flex your ankles, true dead bug. Shins are vertical, and we just pull straight down while trying to press the tailbone back down. You should feel this in your hamstrings and your hips. Now, bring the soles of your feet together like we do for bound angle or cobbler's pose. Grab the outside edges of your feet. I want you to keep the soles of the feet together, but just begin to open up at the knee joint. So if you look at your legs, there's a long, narrow diamond space, right? And if you look straight up, your feet are kind of over your throat or over your face. Gently pull straight down. This is going to stretch out your low back a little bit. And then just transition that into your happy baby. Just start to wiggle around. Feel all the goodness that you did for your hips and your low back today. Lots of stuff. Things should feel open, warm, pliable, loose, and alive. Let's bring the feet to the floor. Ankles and knees together, knees are bent. Exhale, drop your knees to one side and then inhale them back up and exhale them the other way. We'll just do a couple more times on each side. Just follow your breath. Next time that your knees come open, allow them to drop open. Soles of the feet together on your next inhale. Flatten your low back by tilting the pelvis back, pressing the low back into the mat, lengthening the spine, just breathing normally. And on your next exhale, release and begin to extend your legs. You're welcome to wiggle them a little bit if that feels like a good idea after all of this glute and low back work. Make sure that your glutes are actually soft. And then I want you to just gently lift between the shoulder blades and lengthen your spine, and then lift your head and lengthen your neck. So you should feel lots of space from your tailbone to the top of the head. And then make sure that your shoulders are relaxing away from the ears. The arms are somewhere down below the shoulders, preferably with your palms facing up towards the sky. And then just take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth, closing the eyes, relaxing the jaw, and settling into Shavasana. So our Shavasana is not only the place where we get to rest after all of that hard hip work today, but it's also where everything gets absorbed and assimilated, processed, digested, all of that. And I'd like you to think about how it's kind of like a microcosm of life. Every day we do all of this stuff. And then at night we go quiet and we go still when we sleep. Very much like the phases of the moon. So yesterday was a new moon. It's like the moon goes quiet, goes still, and disappears temporarily. And so our lives are very much like that. We go through our daily phases, but we also go through those phases in a bigger sense too. There are times in our lives when we're very active and really into a bunch of stuff. And then there are times when we have to kind of back up and rest and go quiet for a bit. So I want you in today's Shavasana to just, for today, take in this new moon energy, this sense of backing up, going dark or going quiet or being still, rest, as it were, just allowing yourself time to recharge, time to process, just like this Shavasana, just taking that time. Notice if there are any thoughts or emotions around this quiet time, this little moment of withdrawal. Notice if your Shavasana and the idea of doing that in a broader sense feels decadent or self-indulgent, or if it feels really peaceful because you know you deserve it. Just notice if you have any thoughts or emotions around the idea of withdrawing so that you can care for yourself and recharge. And then just slowly, slowly start to feel back into your body. Notice how your hips and your low back feel. So when we release tension in these areas, pretty much the rest of the body will just follow. So notice if you feel particularly relaxed today. And then you can start to deepen your breath. Start to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Take a really big inhale. Spread your fingers and toes. And as you exhale, relax them. Even deeper inhale. Stretch. Exhale and relax. Hug your knees in, or you can just bend the knees with your feet flat. Roll to your right side, and if you're able, pause there for a couple of breaths today. Just lying on your right side, all curled up into a nice little ball, very restful position. And then press yourself up into sitting. So today we're going to have one hand on the heart and one hand on the abdomen. You choose which one. Nice straight spine. And we're definitely going to be doing a lunar breath to honor that new moon that we had yesterday. But here's the cool thing, you're going to do it without using your hands. I would love for you to keep your hands as they are, one hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen. And then just to the best of your ability, without letting your head get involved, only your focus and awareness, I'd like for you to breathe really slowly in and out through your left nostril only. And no, you may not use your hands to block your right nostril. Do your best. Just imagine it if you have to, or sense it, or make it happen. Slow, deep inhales and exhales through the left nostril only. No hands. Off you go. As you finish the breath you're on, let your breathing return to normal. Let your palms come together in front of your heart. And just kind of notice if maybe it feels like your left nostril is more open than your right. Maybe not. Maybe you can't tell. But just look at that for a moment. And then just take a moment in gratitude. Not only that we have the capacity to pause and rest when necessary, to go dark and silent, as it were, but also the capacity to do this practice like we did this morning, that we have the hour, that we have the physical ability, that we have the dedication and the discipline, that we have the self-love to actually do the practice. That's something to be immensely grateful for. We should never take that for granted. And then take a moment also in gratitude for all of the beautiful things around you. If you just open your eyes, there's beauty everywhere. Take one more huge inhale. Big, happy sigh through the mouth. So we bring our palms to our foreheads, just reminding us to be present, to pay attention. We bring our palms to our lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And we bring our palms to our hearts, reminding us to keep our hearts open so that we can practice and experience love and kindness and compassion. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.